right, we'll start there, and then I'm going to remember after this to do Bodaken, and then I'll call you for that one. And let's see. Let's see, we're probably going to start in just a few minutes. Okay, take one and a little one. Or let's see, how about with your speech? Did you, that's all in there? Great, you got that there. Awesome. Okay, oh yeah, some things. Okay, awesome. And then you got your Torah intro and your Hopper intro are sort of in there too. Oh, I see it right there. Oh, organized. Nice. Oh, and I made a note. So let's remember when you finish chanting your last one, before you do your blessing, I'm going to say it's a tradition. We just finished for the Torah. It's a tradition to say these words and actually do it. They've got it in their book. Do you have it in your book too? Okay, great. And they've got that too. So I will refer them to that in the bottoms of their commentaries, and then you can read it. Okay, you got some water. Very cool. Great. You got all your goodies down there. You got everything. Good morning, Philip. Good morning. You representing the board today? Nice. Very nice.
Good morning.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, letters. Hi. You representing Brotherhood?
Yeah.
Awesome. So can I show you what you're going to be reading? I will call you up. And feel free to take that to your seat and spend some time with it if you'd like. So right here for Max, this is Leonard. Leonard's representing Brotherhood, so he's going to make a presentation to you. Let's see, Philip too. I don't know if you know Philip. This is Philip Payne on the board. Hi, man. How are you? Hey, Ollie. Good morning. Good to see you. Did you get some news last night from Seattle? Oh, okay. You're waiting? That makes sense. That's a good idea. No, I can wait. Yes. Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. That's great. But yeah, it can wait. So, Ali, you're doing an Aliyah today. All right, nice. Did you want to look at it again? Are you good? Hey, all right, very cool. Very cool. All right, great job, memories. Yeah. The other one is Jess Bodaken, Max's mom, Leonard Cash. Susan represents.
It's been a long
It,
time.
it, you know, the build-up is long, and you know, here it is.
I think it's excited in your seat.
It is exciting. Yes. Well, in a couple hours, it will definitely be released,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but you also it's like I always remind people, just don't forget to be present in the moment. 'Cause it's so hard to just stay with the moment, and the moment passes. And
Yeah.
you want to just like try to. But there's a lot of anxiety too with it.
Yeah. I actually love this service in particular. So
It's a great
It's a great,
service.
and thank you for being open to Modani this morning.
Of course. Oh,
I just
you love that.
it's a childhood kind of thing, and I just thought we didn't do it for my daughter, and I thought I'm just gonna ask. So
Sure. I mean, I think that, you know, you should have whatever you want and have it be as meaningful as possible for you. So.
And thank you. Last night the song at the end.
Oh,
Beautiful. You had never done that song?
you know, I had heard it before because I'm in a songwriter's sort of cohort, and he was a guest, the guy that wrote it. And so, but actually, Alyssa, Cantor Alyssa, she suggested to do it, and I listened to it, and I was like, oh, and it was harder to learn than I thought it was going to be, and there's many more beautiful verses to it, but I thought at least a taste of, because it is the only song I've ever heard that really describes the experience of immigration and getting, and I thought the service last night was so meaningful, people talking about their heritage and their background. I mean, it was really
I thought it was great. It was just great, but it was the perfect way
to end it.
To end it.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad, because I said I'm just going to do what I don't want, because I'm afraid I'm going to mess the song up, which I kind of did, but it was still.
No one.
But it was still the.
It was the right
I think
tone.
we're going to start the service now.
Yeah.
It was great.
Good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Yeah, let's do that. Great. So let's see, Cantor in just a moment. We're going to get Chris up and start the service.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Chris.
Yeah, are you comfortable? I mean, I'll ask everybody to please be seated in just a second.
I'm ready, and we're going to do He Named My Toe first.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah,
But I may just,
I don't need
ask
music
people
for
to
that.
sit.
That's why that's up first.
Sure. All right, I got 3 stickies for that one. So we'll do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Where do you live, by the way? Oh, you're in Glendale. Okay. Because I was gonna ask if you might want to do a photo shoot with me.
Rocky looking.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my pictures are from like 7 years ago, and I really have aged quite a bit, so they feel very dishonest when I put my pictures up.
It's not like they could have done anything.
No, I mean, you know, they were fine for about 3 years, and now I'm like way overdue.
Max, you ready?
Everything's good. We got the next working. seat, everybody. You ready? You good to go? Okay. So if you want to, you're welcome to stand up here for Hinei Matov at the beginning, or if you'd like to have a seat, because I'm going to be talking for a little bit. It's whatever you're comfortable doing. Okay. You want to have your prayer book just so you got it? Yeah, I would just always sort of just travel with your prayer book. Have some water. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, please make yourselves comfortable. Hopefully everybody has a blue prayer book. And we're going to begin in just one moment. Just one moment.
Hine ma tovu manayim שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבר אחים גם יחד. מנעים שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לי לי לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לי לי לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבר אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Temple Sinai of Glendale. I'm Rabbi Rick Schechter, and that's Cantor Rebecca Mirsky, and it's so wonderful for all of us to be together today. As the psalmist wrote, and as Cantor Rebecca sang, how good, how pleasant it is for us to be together in unity. So great to be together as family, so great to be together as friends, and together as a community to celebrate Shabbat, the Jewish day of rest and renewal, a day when we can slow down and thank God for all the goodness and blessings in our lives. This Shabbat is so very special because on this Shabbat we celebrate Max Bodaken becoming a bar mitzvah. Yes, Max is, all right. There we go. That's the way to start. That is the way to start. Well, Max is a bar mitzvah, literally a son of the commandment. Today, Max is recognized in our eyes and in the eyes of the entire Jewish world as having come of age in our tradition. And he is now ready and willing and able to keep the teachings and the practices of Judaism. So today, Max demonstrates his new status as a bar mitzvah, as a son of the commandment, by leading us in prayer and worship. So please join in. Join in the English when Max asks you to join in English. Join in the Hebrew if you know the Hebrew. Join in the music. Even if you don't know the music, feel free to hum along or clap along, and we're all going to celebrate together. Now, Max is also going to demonstrate his status as a bar mitzvah by chanting from the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, and by chanting his Haftarah portion from the prophetical books of the Jewish Bible. And Max will share very thoughtful and wise teachings of his based upon this week's Torah portion. So we want to wish a heartful mazel tov to Max and to Jen and to Jess, and to Chris and to Allie and to the entire family. My goodness, we have family and friends from all over today. We've got family and friends from throughout the Los Angeles area. and from Mission Viejo, California, and from San Francisco, from Scottsdale, Arizona, from Denver, Colorado. Oh, there's the Scottsdale contingent. There they are. Denver, Colorado. Where's Denver? Ah, there's Denver. Very nice. Silver Spring, Maryland. All right, Silver Spring. Baja, California. Baja, welcome, welcome. And with us on live stream today, we have folks from throughout the Los Angeles area, from San Francisco, from Austin, Texas, from Washington, D.C. We have family and friends with us today, even as far as Pasadena, California. So thank you all for being here today. Hopefully everybody has a copy of our prayer book, the Blue Prayer Book. This is a Hebrew opening prayer book, so it opens from right to left instead of left to right. We'd like to invite everyone in the sanctuary now to please silence your electronic devices. Thank you. No texting during the service. Max, you're doing great. We have another way to show our love and appreciation to Max throughout the service. It's a modified form of applause. I like how y'all are going like this. We're going to do that when we sing. We're clapping when we sing. We have a modified form of applause in the sanctuary. Yes, it's like this. We call it Sacred Pac-Man. So we'll have plenty of opportunities to do that throughout the service today for Max and for the family. Just a reminder, there's no photography during the service. The family has a wonderful photographer right back there that will share some pictures with you. So let's begin. We turn to page 185 in our prayer book, page 185. We are at the top of the page, and in loving community of family and friends this morning, we celebrate Max, and we enter this sacred space to voice the longings of our hearts in prayer. We devote ourselves this morning to psalm and to song, to study and to prayer. May our hearts be lifted, may our thoughts be deepened, and may our souls, like the eagle, soar. Well, at this time, we are so very honored to call upon Max's grandparents, Alan and Barbara Drapkin, to present Max with his talit, his Jewish prayer shawl. Please come on over here. Let's come right over here. I'll have the microphone pick you up if you're going to say a few words.
Alan, take it in. It's beautiful, Tony. Got it? Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Can I read my speech now? This is for you. I read this especially for you.
Okay, loud.
Max, your grandmother and I are so proud to wrap this tallis around you. It is a symbol of our Jewish laws and traditions that are here for your guidance and support.
Poppy and I are honored to be with you today and be part of your journey into adulthood. Max, you are the real deal. Caring, smart, unique, you're your own person, but you will always be connected to the generations of family that have gone before you. We know you have a long and happy life adventure ahead of you, and your good name will always shine.
Mazel tov.
I love you.
I love you too.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Alan. A wise person once taught that if the only prayer we ever said, if we only said one prayer, just needs to be two words: thank you. Thank you. So in Judaism, we start our day in prayer with those words. Thank you. Moda'ani. You can find them on page 186. We give thanks. I give thanks. Moda'ani, page 186. Please join us if you know this prayer, if you know this song.
Bodaken lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechazarta bi nishmati b'chemla, b'chemla, rabba emunatecha. Moda'ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechazarta bi nishmati b'chemla, b'chemla, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha.
We now turn to page 198. Page 198, as we are honored to have Max Bodaken, our bar mitzvah, lead us in prayers, thanking God for the miracles of daily life. Max will lead us in the Hebrew. We're going to respond in the English, beginning at the top of page 198.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lesechvivina lehavchin ben yom uvein laila.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish between night.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who frees the captive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kefufim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who lifts up the fallen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who strengthens our steps.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who clothes the naked.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten laya'ef koach.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who gives strength to the weary.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir she'na me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, in your image.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorin.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me free.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, who has made me a Jew.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who girds Israel with strength.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, otir Yisrael b'tifara.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who crowns Israel with splendor.
We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 224.
Yitgadol v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yifrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye decho beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, uv'izman kariv, v'imeru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam alolmei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitramham v'yinaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal, shemei dekudasha, brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'yama, v'imeru, amen.
We now turn to page 226. Please rise for our call to worship.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Please turn to page 228 for the Yotzer Or prayer, thanking God for the wonders of creation. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer Or uvorei choshech, osei shalom uvorei et hakol.
Hameir.
Praised are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illuminate the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai our God, for the excellent work of your hands. And for the lights you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer Hamorot. We turn to page 231. Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical leaving, having heard Lech Lecha, go forth. God disturbs us towards our destiny by hard events and by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Please join me in the Shema, beginning on page 232.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. Please join me in chanting the Ve'ahavta on page 234. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levacha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha. Ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha vishinantam levanecha vidibarta bam bishivtecha b'leitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshokbecha uvkumecha Ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafod beinenecha. Uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Leman tiskeru, va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem lelochim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. We continue on page 239. Emet. There is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all of Israel, we sing out and rejoice. We continue on page 240.
Adonai imlo leolam vaed. Adonai imlo leolam vaed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'etar b'kodesh. Norat tehilot sefele, norat tehilot.
We now come to the heart of Jewish worship, the Amidah, on pages 242 through 248. Please rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yadi tehillatcha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Velohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Velohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem Le'man Shemo Ve'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Akol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkei HaChayim Bechesed Mechaye Akol Berachanim Rabim Somech Noflim Verafei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Micha Mocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Menid Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Ata L'achayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol. Nikadesh et Shimcha ba'olam Kishem shemakdishim Oto b'shmei marom Kakatuv al yad neviecha V'kara ze el ze v'amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tsevaot Meloch Haaretz Kevodo Yimloch Adonai Leolam Elohayich Sion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Nagid Gad Lecha Ulenetzach Netzachim Kedushatcha Nakish V'shivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu Lo Yamush Leolam Va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. We continue with the singing of the Vishamru on page 250.
Vishamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam Vishamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam Beini uvein Bnei Yisrael Od hi leolam Vishamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Please turn to page 252. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness, and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. I am honored to now call upon my friends Rocky Nakane and Augie Schlinger to lead us in prayers beginning on page 255.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worthy in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess, and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer in life, in peace, and in joy. Baruch atah Adonai.
We now pray responsively on page 257. This prayer has a Hebrew response, Modim Anachnu Lach, which means we thank you, God.
For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may live not by our fears but by our hopes, not by our words but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lacha na'eh lehodot.
We now take a moment for personal and silent prayer.
say Shalom, Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru, amen. Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. Oh, say Shalom, Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru, amen.
We now come to our Torah service, Seder Kriyat HaTorah l'Shabbat. You can find the prayers and blessings for the Torah service beginning on page 362. Page 362.
Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malachutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimrach le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiva v'rtzonecha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki v'cha levad batachnu, melech Aram v'nisa Adon olamim.
To now open the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark, we are delighted to call upon Ed and Jennifer Bodaken, Max's grandparents, to pass the Torah through the generations. We are honored to call upon Alan and Barbara Drapkin and Ed and Jennifer Bodaken, Max's grandparents, Chris and Jess Bodaken, Max's parents, and of course Max Bodaken, our bar mitzvah. After our processional with the Torah, we're honored to help us undress the Torah scroll, Jed Schlanger, family friend. We now invite the entire congregation to please rise before the open ark.
Shlosha devarim haolam haolam omed. Shlosha devarim, Shlosha devarim, Shlosha devarim haolam haolam omed. Al Torah ve'al avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Ki. Oh, okay. Dor vador, le dor vador, le dor vador, nagid God lecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nagid.
Well, Max, that was loud. You are leading us so wonderfully in prayer this morning. Yes, yeah. Oh, there we go. Look at the turnaround, Max. Yes. There's the love. Yeah, you're leading us so great in prayer today. You know, some of these prayers are thousands of years old that you've been leading. You're now getting ready to do something that Jewish people have also been doing for millennia, for thousands of years. Reading from the Torah, chanting from the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the embodiment of Jewish wisdom and teaching and history. The 5 books of Moses are the books of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. We're not going to ask you to read all those books today. As you know, you got a wonderful portion right at the end of the book of Exodus that Max is going to tell us about. So Max, in becoming a bar mitzvah, son of the commandment, you are now what we call part of the Shashelet HaKabbalah. Shashelet HaKabbalah means the chain of Jewish tradition. This loving chain of tradition extends thousands of years into our past. It will extend thousands of years into our future. I am confident because of you as the newest and the strongest link in the chain of Jewish tradition. And this Torah comes to you, Lador Vador, with the love and the support of your family. I'm going to set this down for a second. This Torah comes to you, Max, with the love and the guidance of your grandparents.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'Kdushato, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Tiuna Romema, Shemo Yachdav. Lecha Adonai Agedula ve'agevura ve'hatiferet ve'hanetzach ve'hod, Ki chora b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Ki chora Adonai hamamlacha v'amid na'aseh lecho rosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Hallelu, 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 hallelu. Kol anshama Hallelujah, hallelujah, kol anshama hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah,
And please be seated, everybody.
This week's Torah portion comes from the book of Exodus. In it, we find Moses completing the creation of the tent of meeting, the tabernacle, and once finished, a cloud covered it. This cloud is perceived as the presence of the Eternal by the Israelites. The cloud determines whether the people stay or travel. If the cloud moves, they move, but if the cloud stays, they stay. So God's presence is constant and leads them in all their journeys. You can find the Torah portion in the blue Torah commentary on page 634 and in the green Woman's Torah commentary on page 558, beginning at verse 30.
Yes, as Max mentioned, that's page 634 in the blue, the big blue commentary, and page 558 in the green commentary. And if you were in the front row, it's actually right underneath your seat there, just right below your seat. About halfway down, just right, yeah, there it is, yeah. So 634 blue and 558 green, beginning at verse 30.
Ta'amod le'abat Rashi ve'ita.
So for the, we have 3 aliyot this morning. An aliyah is literally going up. It's an honor to be called to the Torah. As Max is chanting, that's an honor to chant the Torah. It's also an honor to be called to the Torah, saying a blessing before and after each chanting, a blessing thanking God for the wisdom of Torah. So we have 3 aliyot this morning, 3 of those honors. For our first aliyah, we are honored to call upon Gwen Richardson, Max's aunt.
Okay, so I'm going to call her up one more time.
There we go.
Ta'amod le'abat Rashi ve'ita haliash brishona.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayashem et hakior bein ohel moed uvein hamizbeach vayitein shama mayim l'ratza v'rachatzu mimenu Moshe ve'aharon uvanav et yedehem ve'et raglehem bevoam el ohel moed Uvkorvatam el hamizbeach yirchatzu ka'asher tziva Adonai et Moshe.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
For our second aliyah this morning, we are so honored to call upon Allie Bodaken, Max's sister.
Ta'amod shein harut bad aliana v'kriz ha'aliyah sheinit.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayakem et hechatzer saviv lamishkan velamizbeach vayitein et masach shar hechatzer vayachal Moshe et hamlacha vayachas heanan et ohel moed ukvod Adonai malei et hamishkan. Velo yachol Moshe lavo el ohel moed ki shechan alav heanan ukvod Adonai malei et hamishkan.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
For our third and final aliyah this morning, we are so very honored to officially call as bar mitzvah Max Bodaken.
Ya'amod, 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 ya'amod. Binyamin bar Eliana v'Chris, habachor, habar mitzvah leah shlishit.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Uvhealot Hanan Me'al Hamishkan Yisu B'nei Yisrael B'chol Masehem Ve'yimlo Ye'aleh Hanan Ve'lo Yisu Ad Yom He'aloto Ki Anan Adonai Al Hamishkan Yomam Ve'esh Tia Laila Bo Le'enei Chol Beit Yisrael B'chol Masehem.
Yes, this is one of those moments. Let's take a moment to do that. This is also a very special moment because Max has finished the book of Exodus. You will see in your Torah commentaries at the bottom, right at the bottom, it's in a gray highlight. There's an expression that we say when we complete a book of the Torah. And Max is going to say it in just a second, but I'll give you what the English is. You can see it right there in the gray. It's 3 words. It means be strong, and may we be strengthened, may we strengthen each other. So Max is going to share that with us now.
Chazak, chazak, venid chazek.
All right. Well done, sir. Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
All right, let's give Max another one of those. He deserves it. This is what we like to call a Siman Tov and Mazel Tov moment. It's a good sign and good luck that we're all together.
Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yehelanu. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yehelanu. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yehelanu. Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. Well, with the Torah before us, it is a Jewish tradition to say special prayers. In this case, prayers of healing for people we know who are sick or injured, people who are in need of a healing of body and a healing of spirit. We invite you to please join us in this Misha Berach prayer of healing. If you know it, it's in the middle of page 371. Middle of page 371.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
At this time, we invite you to offer the name or names of people you know who are in need of healing, our prayers for them. We invite you to please raise your hand and call out their name. Yes, please. Yeah, please, sir. Yes, thank you. Yes, please. Thank you. Please. Yes. Please. George. Yes. Yes. And over here, yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah, please, Susan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Robert Zellerman, Carpus Mazzelli, and Tim Malloy.
Lucy Danzig, Barbara Nord, and Sandy Wilson.
Well, our prayers for all of them, and it's also for the folks listed on the Misha Berach page on the inside of our Shabbat leaflet. We pray in our hearts for all of these temple members who are in need of healing, all of these family members in need of healing, and all of these friends and coworkers who are in need of healing, as we now continue our prayer of healing together.
Misha Berach imotenu mekor abracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. And let us say, Amen.
We pray they are all healed. Well, Max chanted Torah so wonderfully. He's getting ready to chant from the prophetical books of the Jewish Bible in this week's Haftarah portion. Before he does so, it's a Jewish tradition to raise the Torah high for all to see the words that were chanted so wonderfully. Now, in just a second, when the Torah is raised, you're going to see something unique. Hopefully you can see it. The Torah has no punctuation. It has no underlines or bold or italics. It's got no highlights of any kind. It's just black text on white parchment. But there are sometimes signs that you can see in the Torah to let you know where you're at. There are little white spaces sometimes in the middle of a column of text. That's sort of like a paragraph return. And then there are, when you see, like if you were on a keyboard, hit enter 3 or 4 times, that is what the Torah looks like when you're switching from one book to another. So when Chris raises the Torah in just a moment, you're going to be able to see towards the bottom. There's a column of text right in the middle, and then there are about 3 or 4 lines of white space, and that lets you know that that's the end of the book of Exodus that Max just chanted, and then we're entering the book of Leviticus next Shabbat. So it only occurs 4 times in the Torah, so it's something special to see, so we just wanted to call your attention to it. At this time, we were so honored to help us lift the Torah, Chris Bodaken, Max's dad, and to dress the Torah, we are so honored to call upon Paul Drapkin, Max's cousin. And as Chris comes over and as Paul comes up, we invite the congregation to please rise as the Torah is raised. Yes, let's get you set up here. Let's see, do this over here. Let's wait just a second. Take your time. Okay, sir, whenever you are ready.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
Well done, sir. If you'd like to lower your arms, don't worry about it. See right here. And please be seated, everybody.
This week's Haftarah portion comes from the book of 1 Kings. In it, Solomon builds the house of the Eternal in Jerusalem, and like the tabernacle, the cloud of God filled it. While my Torah portion discussed the movable structure for the Israelites, guided by the cloud as a presence of God, my Haftarah portion describes the building of the first permanent temple for the people to worship in. You can find the Haftarah portion on page 638 in your blue Torah commentary, beginning at verse 10. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'invi'ei ha'emet v'atzedek. Vayehi b'tzeit hakohanim min hakodesh v'he'anan Malay et Beit Adonai Velo yachlu hakohanim la'amod l'sharet mipnei he'anan ki malay chvod Adonai et Beit Adonai. Az amar Shlomo Adonai amar Lishkon ba'arafel Vano vaniti Beit Zevul lach Machon l'shivtecha olamim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber u'mkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. For the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the prophets, and for this Shabbat that you, Adonai our God, have given us, for holiness and rest, for honor and glory, we thank and bless you.
Another one of those moments. Yes. Well done, Max. Well done. Well, we're now going to return the Torah to the ark. We turn to page 374 in our prayer book, page 374. And to help us return the Torah, we are so honored to call upon Jess and Allie Bodaken, Max's mom and sister. And we invite the congregation to please rise as the Torah is returned.
Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomechea meushar derachea darchei noam v'chol netivotea shalom Shivenu Adonai Elecha V'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Please be seated, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
When you hear the word cloud, what do you think of? Do you think of a dark sky, or are you on cloud nine and happy as can be? Or do you think of where all your information, pictures, and music are stored? When I hear the word cloud, I think of rain, or at least I did before I chose this section of my Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is the conclusion of the book of Exodus. It describes the building of the tabernacle, a portable structure that was used by the ancient Israelites as a sacred place to worship God and feel God's presence during their 40-year journey after leaving Egyptian slavery. During the Israelites' long journey, God's presence would reveal itself in the form of a cloud that would guide the Israelites by day, and a pillar of fire would be visible to them at night. Whenever the Israelites made camp during their journey, God's cloud would settle over the sacred tabernacle during daylight. When the cloud would move, the Israelites would know to move as well, but if the cloud remained, so would the people. The cloud and fire provide a visible reminder that God is among them and will lead them by day and by night. The main idea that I take away from my Torah portion is the importance of being able to follow visible signs of how God leads us. There can be big or small signs of God's presence. It is important to stop and recognize them. Sometimes the sign could come in a very obvious and natural form, like a sunrise. A sunrise is a daily reminder that a new day is beginning, and we have a fresh chance to follow the right path. When I am visiting my grandparents in Mexico, I get up every morning to see the sunrise over the Sea of Cortez. It is calming and reassuring to me because it is peaceful and a time for me to pay attention to what is present around me. When my family and I have been fortunate to travel around the world, we have visited both cathedrals and synagogues, and no matter the type of faith or language that is spoken, God's presence is not only within the walls of the sacred buildings, but more so within the communities and people who congregate there. On those trips, it is nice to take the time to appreciate how those people feel about their local places of worship, because I get that same feeling standing right here in this sanctuary. A more subtle sign of God's presence could show up through the actions of others. An example of this is working with my soccer coach. All coaches have given themselves for their teams. My coach's sacrifice is greater because he drives down from Bakersfield, over 100 miles away, 3 times a week to teach us and lead us as a team. This level of dedication and giving is a visible and consistent, selfless action that has kept the team together and with him as he has moved from club to club. To me, there is no better example of God's presence than when people sacrifice for or give to others. The example of my soccer coach demonstrates a type of giving. Another type can be found in local charities in my community. In becoming a bar mitzvah, I wanted to support their efforts and give as well. So for my bar mitzvah project, I have chosen to work with the nonprofit called Friends Indeed in Pasadena. Their mission as an interfaith organization is to provide supportive services to meet basic human needs with a focus on compassion, connection, and dignity. I plan to support this organization by volunteering my time working in their food pantry. This program currently provides food to about 1,000 people per week in my hometown. It's important to work with a community organization that helps to make sure the most basic needs are met. This leads me back to my Torah portion. In today's world, you and I won't see those special pillars of cloud by day and fire by night to guide us and remind us of God's presence among us like the ancient Israelites saw them. Yet, when you think about it, we really can see both big and small signs of God's presence in our life if we stop and recognize them. Like in a sunrise, and in communities, and in people who sacrifice for others. I'd like to now thank a number of people who helped me reach this sacred moment in my life. I want to thank my mom and dad for working with me to stay on track and focus on all of this. Thanks to my sister Allie for always believing in me. A big thank you to my 4 grandparents for both encouraging and supporting me through this important time of becoming a bar mitzvah, an important Jewish milestone. I'd also like to thank Rabbi and Cantor for taking the time, helping me get to this moment. A special shout out to my Hebrew teacher and bar mitzvah tutor, Carolyn, for helping me prepare and for all the extra hours working with me over Zoom. And finally, I would like to thank everybody that's here today, in person and on the live stream, for celebrating this special day with me. Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Wow, Max. What a powerful teaching. Thank you for sharing that with all of us, and thank you for sharing this beautiful day with us. We know that your parents at this time would like to share what's in their heart. So Jess, Chris, we'd be honored.
Bug. I am so proud of you. This moment, this milestone, was put on pause for 18 months. You couldn't be together in person with your classmates, learning and preparing. You lost the ability to engage, collaborate, and support each other in the same way. But as the date approached and you needed to begin your personal study, you took it on. You began to do the work. You showed up not only for Carolyn, but for yourself. You understood what it meant to go through the steps to study and learn. As I stood back and watched you own this process, you managed your time and your schedule and the responsibility of meeting deadlines. I was constantly amazed at your progression and dedication to getting to this day. It started to feel like you really wanted this. That standing here today in this sanctuary was your choice and your path forward. My hope for you is that you take this experience and continue to grow and embrace your Jewish faith and practice our values: respect, honesty, fairness, kindness, community, giving, and tradition. You are maturing into a very thoughtful, loving, warm young man. Hold on to those qualities as you grow up and you move forward, and look back every once in a while to remind yourself how you got here. I love you.
What? Kind of surprised they'll let me do this. Well, for those of you who were here 5 years ago when Allison had this moment, first, you're probably pretty surprised they're letting me do this again. I got a little trouble. I realized quoting Springsteen was okay. Miley Cyrus, a bridge too far. Lesson learned. Today, my best course is to tread lightly. Maxwell Edward. So many reasons we're proud of you. Proud of the man you're becoming. So I'm going to narrow it down, just focus on your name. Maxwell. Named after my grandma Max. One of my favorite quotes from Kobe is, "Great things come from hard work and perseverance, no excuses." Hard work, perseverance, no excuses. That was Grandma Max. That's you, Maxie. You've got grit. Quite possibly the single most important characteristic one could have. We've seen your grit in all the sports you play, the fact you chose to go to McKinley and the Math Academy, and the results of today's wondrous event. As Mom pointed out, you decided to walk this path in faith, and you put the effort in to get to this point. As a side note, another example that shows Max's grit has to do with the song Jungle Land. You knew Springsteen had to be involved somehow. A few years back, Max took up the saxophone. I told him about this beautiful sax solo that Clarence Clemens plays in the middle of Jungle Land, and throughout, just as a casual thing, that I'd give him $1,000 if he learned it. Thought there's no way this dude's gonna learn the sax solo from Jungle Land. It's just not gonna happen, right? I'm safe. And then the grit kicked in, the focus, the determination, taking it upon himself, the hard work, the satisfaction in that hard work. If not for his good friend Augie, I would have owed him a lot of money. But at the last minute, Augie saved the day for me. Thank you, Augie. And let's just say it's the only time ever that I'll be happy to hear Careless Whisper instead of Jungle Land. Don't ever lose your grit, my boy. Max's middle name is Edward, named after my dad. I could go on and on about what a truly great father he is, but we may need to keep his ego in check just a little bit. I mean, both Matt and my middle name is Edward, after all. So at some point in time, he was pretty fond of himself, I think. In all honesty, he's the best dad and best example we could have. Extremely smart and generous, but the key characteristic that ties into Max's Torah portion and commentary is my dad's willingness to sacrifice for others. The examples of this, too numerous to mention, too numerous to list today, but it's always greatly appreciated. Max, we see your sacrifices in many areas too. We see the sacrifices you make with your teams. That's why you're loved by your teammates and your coaches. And when I got to coach him, that's why I loved having him on my team. I know you give yourself to your friends. That's why you have such great high character guys like Rocky and Augie come up here and speak for you. One of the things I found out to be true in my more than years than I'd like to admit to in this life is the more you give and truly give, the more you get back, the more you get in return. It's just the way it works. The fact that you chose and discussed the idea of sacrifice as a way to see God's presence as one of your themes shows you understand this vital fact at a far younger age than I ever did. That's impressive, buddy. I'll finish with this. One of my favorite quotes, sports or non, comes from Hall of Fame coach Rudy Tomjanovich. Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion. Rudy was talking about the character of his team coming back and winning a championship, but to me it also means that heart of giving, the heart to give of yourself when it's not convenient or comfortable. Max, you have this special combination of grit and giving. It's your superpower. You have that heart of a champion. I love you, buddy.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jess. Thank you so much. Such loving and heartfelt and touching words. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you, Max. I want to thank you most of all. This was a wonderful experience today. Thank you. Thank you for creating this inspiring day for us all, this day of prayer and learning and celebration. Max, I think we were all so moved by what you did here and by what you taught us today. And we know that when you're not busy studying Hebrew and prayers and Torah and Haftarah, we know how much you enjoy playing soccer and other sports. And it got me thinking, Max, got me thinking about how playing soccer is a lot like being a bar mitzvah and living a Jewish life. How so, you might be wondering? You might already know. Well, Max, you know better than most of us that to be good at soccer or to be a good football player, a good baseball player, which you also enjoy doing, to get good at any athletic activity, it takes practice and practice and more practice. Well, the same is certainly true of becoming a bar mitzvah, as your parents talked about. Max, you practiced reading Hebrew. You practiced chanting your Torah and your Haftarah portions with those special melodies and musical notes called tropes that are not set to Springsteen's melodies. They're hard to learn. They're hard to remember. They're hard to see when they're not even in the Torah. But with practice, you learn those different sets of melodies. And when you chanted Torah, you did it all with no vowel signs, no trope marks in the Torah. That is not easy to do. I'm hoping there's no statute of limitations on him learning that sax solo, because maybe you still have time, and you could still make good on that. Well, you practice your prayers. You spent time writing your deep and your thoughtful teachings about this week's Torah portion. Wasn't that amazing what Max said about this week's Torah portion? Absolutely amazing. You did it all fabulously, Max. Absolutely. Like having the skills of a good soccer player, now as a bar mitzvah, with the skills that you've acquired through your hard work, through your practice, through your grit, you can now go anywhere in the world, Max, anywhere in the world where there's a synagogue or a temple, and you can participate in that service. Not only that, you can lead. You can lead many parts of that service anywhere in the world. That is something special that you carry with you. It reminds me of when you spoke so eloquently earlier about visiting synagogues and houses of worship throughout the world. When you travel, how you feel God's presence there and how you feel God's presence here. How you feel God's presence there when you travel in those beautiful houses of worship, and more so in the communities and in the people who gather there, you observed. Very powerful. Well, now, Max, when you travel to any continent on earth, if you were to visit their synagogue on Shabbat, you could hop up on their bima and you could lead that service. You'll want to ask them first before you do that. That is the power of what you've acquired in becoming a bar mitzvah, Max. To live a Jewish life is very much a practice. And like most valuable things in life, it benefits from regular practice and effort and grit. Max, may you continue to learn about and practice Judaism throughout your life. May it always enrich you. May Judaism always enrich you. May you always find meaning in it. And like soccer, Max, Judaism itself is very much a team sport. It's been a team sport for thousands of years. As in soccer, a person really can't do Judaism well by himself or herself. You know, traditionally in Judaism, there are certain prayers we can't say unless there are 10 people in the room. We call it a minyan, 10 people to pray certain things, sort of like 11 soccer players on the field per team. Judaism almost always takes place with a group, with a community. May you continue to be an active part of the Jewish community and our temple community. May you continue to participate on the team. So there's one final very important way that being Jewish is a lot like playing soccer. Perhaps it's the most important way, Max. in sports and in religious and spiritual life, we are serving something bigger than ourselves. It's about something bigger than us. When you're on the field in a game, you're not just playing for yourself, right? You're playing for your team that you're a part of. You're playing for your coach. The win isn't just for you. The victory goes to everybody that's a part of it. It transcends. It goes beyond any one individual, no matter how much of a superstar athlete they may be. So too in Judaism and in Christianity and in Islam and Hinduism and other religions, religious and spiritual people are serving something bigger, like God, like their community, like the larger world itself. In Judaism, everyone is asked to help make this world a better place. If people are hungry, we can help feed them. People are hurting, we can try to heal them. If people are in need, we can help them. Just as you're doing, Max, in your extremely helpful Mitzvah project with Friends Indeed. Friends Indeed, you are serving something bigger, like your soccer coach is doing, driving all the way from Bakersfield. And Max, with your Mitzvah project and with all the sacrifices for others that you make, all the ways that you give to others, as your parents were talking about, in all those ways you are helping to make our world a better place. You are being God's partner in that effort. And that is, as you taught us today, the best example of God's presence in our lives. Max, you are such a kind and thoughtful and generous and respectful and giving and helpful and joyful young man. That is what it means to be a bar mitzvah, a son of the commandment. And that is who you are, Max. May you continue to be a great blessing to the world and to all of us. Mazel tov to you and to your wonderful family. Yes, mazel tov. Well, Max, at this time, Cantor, Rebecca, and I would be honored to share with you the most precious blessing of the Jewish people, God's blessing found in the Torah. We invite you to join us at the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark. You can leave your binder there. Do this back and forth. Let's see. Max, could you get that?
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
Max, may God bless you. May God protect you.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May the light of God's love and God's wisdom shine upon you and be gracious to you.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
Max, may God always be with you and with your beautiful family and give you all the most precious blessing of all, the blessing of Shalom, which is peace and its wholeness, and it is fulfillment in every way. And together let's all say, Amen. All right. Max, at this time, leaders of our congregation would like to make a special presentation to you in becoming Bar Mitzvah. I'm honored to begin by calling upon Vice President here at Temple Sinai, Mr. Philip Hain.
So Max, when you asked about what we thought about for clouds, for me it wasn't Bruce Springsteen, it was Joni Mitchell who wrote, I've looked at clouds from both sides now. There were no clouds here today. You pushed them aside. You illuminated the sanctuary. It was truly an honor to listen to you and your words of wisdom. Mazel tov to you. On behalf of the Temple Sinai Board, I'm honored to present you with some gifts. First is a certificate commemorating that on this day you became a bar mitzvah, leading us in worship and chanting from our sacred texts. Next, we have for you a gift certificate from the National Federation of Temple Youth that can be used toward a trip to Israel with other Jewish teens during your high school years. And finally, your own Plaut commentary of the Torah. We hope that as you continue your Jewish learning, the wisdom of the Torah and these teachings will bring you a life filled with purpose and strengthen your bond to the Jewish people. Again, Mazel Tov. And now Susan Hain, representing Sisterhood, and Leonard Cash, representing Brotherhood, will present you with some additional gifts.
Well, you did an amazing job. You really did. And I stayed awake the whole time, which is a big plus for me. You kept me interested, which is always good. So mazel tov on that. On behalf of the Sisterhood Temple Sinai, it is my privilege to present you with a mezuzah, this mezuzah. Hang it on the doorpost of your bedroom. Hanging it on the doorpost of your bedroom can always remind you of your connection to Judaism, and wherever your life takes you, we hope that you will bring it with you so that you will always feel God's presence on your journey, and also the warmth of knowing the Temple Sinai will always be your home. Mazel tov. I don't know where your little thing is. That's for you. Did you already? Oh, you pulled it already.
Max, Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
You did a wonderful job today. I know you made your family proud, and you made all the congregation proud as well. You did a great job. On behalf of Temple Brotherhood, I'm honored to give you this Kiddush cup. May it always overflow with sweet grape juice until you get old enough that you can put other stuff in it. And whenever you use it throughout your life, may it fill your heart and mind with joyful memories of this special day. And it was my pleasure to give that to you on behalf of Temple Brotherhood.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Philip. Max, you got some nice Jewish goodies there. And you've been working hard. Why don't we keep those there? If you'd like, we can keep them there until the end of the service. And we have a few concluding prayers. You've been working hard. What do you think? You want to take a breather, and Cantor, Rebecca, and I will help finish out the service, and then we'll celebrate together. He is so great. He was instructing me about some other things that we needed to do today, and I need you around the high holidays too. Can I call on you around the high holidays? I definitely need the extra help. So, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna get to all this good stuff. We got one more very important presentation that comes in just a little bit. For now, we're gonna turn back to our prayer books. We come to our concluding prayers. We can turn to page 586. Page 586, we come to the adoration prayer called Aleinu. This prayer is said before the open ark. The open ark is a symbol of God's presence in our lives. So let's all stand together before the open ark, middle of page 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Jewish worship is never complete until we think of those people in our lives who have been a blessing to us and who've passed away, yet they remain very much a blessing in our lives, in our hearts, and in our minds, and in our souls. So at this time, we think of family members who have died, friends who have passed away, members of our community, members of every race and nation who are a blessing to humanity. We think of them now. We honor them through our memory and through our prayer. This Shabbat, we say Kaddish for Jacob Hermit, George Cohn, Harvey Hirsch, Phyllis Sivan, Robert Schumann. We say Kaddish for Eva Hain, Alan Glasser, Shirley Rosenberg, Marion Parnes, David Lieberman, Susan Schwartz, Leon Johnson, Stephen Snitzer, Anita Honeybar, Vera Schneiderman, Joan Keffel Ettlinger, Janet Jeffries, Jennifer Woody, Nancy Lord, Barbara Bolter, Sandra Gainan, Charlotte Hellman, and Sylvia Miller. And for those who are observing Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one that is commemorated this week, we remember Lorraine Robinson, Stanley Barr, Dewey Jacobs, Sanford J. Boardman. We remember Linda Luna, Fred Michaels, Herbert Horowitz, Albert Levitt, Nancy Cutler, Joseph Sabbath, Florence Schwartz, Sylvia Selfon, Dorothy Leader, Rose Schneider-Jabin, Rachel Rivkin, Albert Lane, Ralph Geist, Meyer Cantor, Hillard Gottlieb, Jenny Sampson, Margot Schachter, and Ben Schwartz. Is there anybody who's mourning a loss whose name was not mentioned? And if so, we invite you to please raise your hand and mention their name now. Yes, please. My father, yes. Yes, please. Yes, thank you. Yes, please. Please. Yes. Well, for all of them, let's now stand together as a community of family and friends. So we turn to page 598 in our prayer book, page 598, and we thank God that they were with us as we pray. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'b'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'l'olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yao kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yao kol Yisrael v'yao kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn. May we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. Together we say, Amen. And please be seated, everybody.
Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'himeru. Amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'himeru. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. A special welcome to all who are joining us this morning for the first time. We welcome our visitors. We have many wonderful events coming up at Temple Sinai, which you can read about in the weekly TSG email blast. Today's flowers are presented by Jessica and Chris Bodaken in honor of Max's bar mitzvah, the parents of our 7th grade class in honor of their children, Leonard Cash for the yahrzeit of Linda Luna. At the conclusion of the service, everyone is invited to join the Kiddush luncheon hosted this week by the Bodaken family. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you so much. Well, Max, at this time, your religious school classmates would like to make a special presentation to you. So come on up, guys. If you come on up, I see them throughout the synagogue. Ezra is going to represent. Ezra Brahms, there's Sam Cooper. Sam, come on up. Mimi, come on up. Ezra's going to present, but we'd love to have you guys all together. All right, Ezra, come on over. All right, so this is this. I think you've seen this. Here's this. I'll set this for you. Why don't you come over and stand next to me?
Congratulations. You did such a great job today. We are all really proud of you and happy that you're a classmate of ours. Hebrew school wouldn't be the same without you. We would like to give you this menorah to remind you of this day and the friendships you have made here at Temple Sinai.
All right, thank you, Ezra. Thank you, guys. If you'll please hang out here. We got a few prayers to do, and then our closing song, and then we'll all celebrate together in the social hall. So let me get a couple of things, if you guys can help me out. All right, who would like to hold? Who would like to hold? Don't be shy. There we go. Okay, you can hold that together. We're going to be holding that for a while. Let's see. This is for Cantor Rebecca. Yeah, here. And Max, would you like some grape juice now? Okay, great. Well, you want to use your Kiddush cup or you want to use, oh, great. You want to use your new Kiddush cup? Okay, great. Okay. All right, very good.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
All right, who's hungry? Okay, not all jump at once. Okay.
Okay.
We'll save this for everybody in the social hall. You want a bite? Okay. All right. All right. Would you like a bite? Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. All right, we will leave this here for everybody for our luncheon. And we now come to our closing song.
In Eloheinu.
Ein Keloheinu. Great. We can find this in our prayer books on page 626. Page 626. Let's rise together as a community. Let's rise together.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu. Sorry. Mi Keloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kamoshienu. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Kamoshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Kamoshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Kamoshienu. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. If you'll please take your prayer books with you on your way to the social hall right down the middle aisle. And there, yes, there's Susie to greet you and to take your prayer book. I look forward to celebrating in the social hall. All right. Awesome. Well done, sir. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks. Cantor, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Okay, well, sweet family.
Very sweet, very sweet. He did a great job.
Yeah,
Fantastic, so sweet.
Yeah, you did. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And
You're very welcome.
yeah, let's stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Let us stay in touch. Let me know how things go.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,